Yeah, I mean, because the thing I say all the time, I think it was just like the luck of the draw that just happened to be like an Indian guy. Because I really truly believe that if it was like even like a Polish guy that was here, under these circumstances, what happened, I think the Polish community would be getting, as much hate as you guys are right now. But obviously, that's not the issue.
I
But
mean, I have to respectfully completely disagree with you because as a Polish person, you completely blend in with white America. Well, you
all
can't
right,
see my
looks like we're going, bro. So thank you for coming on. If you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself, because I know we kind of met on TikToks during the lives with the whole thing going on with the trucking and the Indian community and all that. There's a couple of cool topics you brought up that I want to discuss. Definitely the 1985 thing, that's for sure. So if you want to just let people know your name, what you do in trucking, and then we'll just get right into it.
Yeah, so hello guys. My name is Fateh Singh and as I mentioned earlier that I got my trucking license back in 2015 and it was like a couple years after high school and I just wanted to get it just to like have it, right? And I didn't think I was actually going to get into trucking. And been around trucks my whole life ever since I was a little kid and used to go with my old man. And when I was a kid, I never thought I would get into trucking, but I eventually did. And yeah, I got out of it last year, so almost a year now that I got out of trucking. And
That you got out of it completely, you said?
yeah,
Oh, why'd you get out of it?
due to many reasons, I kind of had a love-hate relationship with it, and I kind of got burnt out, I guess you could say. Yeah,
What kind of career path did you switch into, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm more in like working in nonprofits now.
Okay.
So
Okay.
like the money's not the same at all, but I'm not in this for the money. I want to do something that's better for the community.
Okay,
So,
so you're working nonprofits within your community.
yep, yep.
Yeah, so we kind of met during one of the Tic Tac lives I had, right? About I think the one that went kind of like off the hinges a little bit. And I know, like, with everything going on, with the Indian community and trucking right now, it's kind of like I know your community feels like they're kind of getting like attacked, right? A little bit.
I mean, just go on to Twitter or it's known as X now and you'll see.
Yeah, I mean, because the thing I say all the time, I think it was just like the luck of the draw that just happened to be like an Indian guy. Because I really truly believe that if it was like even like a Polish guy that was here, under these circumstances, what happened, I think the Polish community would be getting, as much hate as you guys are right now. But obviously, that's not the issue.
I
But
mean, I have to respectfully completely disagree with you because as a Polish person, you completely blend in with white America. Well, you can't see my hands, right? Oh, there you go.
yeah,
Never mind. I'm looking at my screen too to make sure. You guys blend in, right? So we are a visible minority, right?
okay.
If you were to see me out on the road, you'll know exactly who I am. Like people that know, they'll see me with wearing my turban. I got my beard. They know I'm a Sikh. So,
Well, I mean, you can also
and
get it confused
because
with.
of our identity, we have been targets in the past throughout our history as a people, right? Going back to like when we were created over 500 years ago, and that is still happening today. And we faced a lot of backlash, a lot of discrimination after 9/11 happened
Could
because
you hear
we
that
were
or no? Sorry, man. Is that is that? Could you hear that in there, the background or no?
no, I don't hear anything in the
Oh,
background.
okay. Sorry, 'cause they're doing the floor here just pounding. I get what you're saying, though, but also you could also say that with the Muslim community too, right? That kind of dress similar. And I mean, just because like you're saying, like the whole white thing, like I don't agree with it because I was discriminated against growing up as well for being Polish. You know what I mean? So I mean, I get what
Everybody faces discrimination. Yeah. The
yeah.
part of California that I live in, there's barely any white people here, right? And when I was growing up, I got bullied by mainly like African American kids and Mexican American kids,
Okay.
right? So like racism isn't only just like only not it's not just white people that could be racist. Anybody could be racist. Shit, some of my people are racist, right?
You know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I
racism
might
is
have
not
sit
only
on
for white
the
people.
let me put up your volume a little bit. I could kind of have trouble hearing you.
Could you hear me better now?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, I mean,
So
racism is not only for white people. I mean, it's like again, but then like I get it, but like you're saying that like Polish people. I mean, if you could tell a European person difference between a normal white person, and I mean, I get what you're saying just because you guys have the turban and stuff, but just because you have the turban, there's also a lot of different countries that have other similar stuff as well. And to be quite honest
so
with you, bro, like from regular, like a lot of like people that don't know about cultures, they wouldn't be like how you said they don't know you're a Singh, but they're not
they
gonna,
don't know.
yeah,
Yeah, and that's what we've been trying to do is to educate the public about who we are, right? And just a fun fact for you, 99% of people in America that wear a turban are
Hmm.
Sikhs. You know, we got nothing to do with Muslims, nothing to do with Islam. We're our own independent religion, which was founded over 550 years ago in
Yeah.
um in Punjab, which is our homeland. And this is an area that is like, occupied, I guess you could say, by the modern nation states of India and Pakistan, right? And a lot of us, we come to America seeking, seeking freedom and stuff and the right to like practice our faith freely because it's not that we were not really able to do that in those two countries.
Yeah, that's what America was made on, right? Freedom of religion was
Exactly.
one of the
First
obviously
Amendment, or
founding
yeah, the
foundations.
Pilgrims, they were fleeing religious persecution as well, right?
You know,
And so we've been in this country since the late 1890s, and for most of our immigration, it started mainly after 1965, after the passing of the Civil Rights Law, the Civil Rights Act. And at that point it was very slow, like it was very controlled immigration. It was only like certain select people could come, those are that were professionals, like doctors, lawyers, nurses. That's how my aunt came in the year 1984. She was a nurse at that time. America needed nurses, right? So then she and her whole family were able to immigrate here. She was like one of the first in my family to come to America,
so you're saying when
right?
the immigration process first started, you could only let like people that actually like the positions in that country were needed in order to get let in, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was very strict back then, right?
But
And
but if you really like think about it, don't you think that's strict in a good way though?
it
Because
is,
like,
it is. I'm totally for legal immigration. I'm one of those people, I'm totally against the like illegal immigration that goes on. I think that if you want to immigrate to America, you should, follow the rules and get in line just like the rest of us,
yeah,
right?
and I think that's why a lot of people are mad because, like, the kind of the man, the Florida thing's really aggravating me. But the way like it's going on right now, the more research I kind of do into it, is like you have like just obviously because in the communities like in the forefront right now, but they have these people they bring in on these B2 visas, right? And then they bring them here, and under FMCSA regulations, technically, if you're under a B2 visa, you're not supposed to be getting a driver's license.
B2 is tourist, B1 is a business
Yeah,
visa.
about tourist and visitor for B2, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So, but then they get in here on B2 visas, and that's how they're able to slip in and get these licenses. But under FMCSA regulations, you're not supposed to get licenses under these visas.
Yeah, I'm not an expert on the whole visa thing. I know there's H-1Bs. There's those are mainly tech workers get in on those, right? And then I know there's E1 and E2 visas as well. I believe those are for employment. But I'm not an immigration expert, bro, you know?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, why everybody's like in outrage right now. Jesus.
It just speaks of the current, the political climate that is. And if you look at it throughout the world, like mass immigration is a problem throughout the world. And this is not just it didn't just happen out of the blue.
Well,
It's a
kind of did, bro,
manufactured
because the Biden
problem.
administration kind of just let everybody in. Like, if you really
Nah, it
think,
started after 2010, bro.
well, I'm not saying like, but I'm saying in this large of a scale, like, you know what I mean? It
Yeah,
really,
of
the
course.
Biden administration just opened the borders up even
I'm not gonna
before.
defend the last administration. They messed up big time.
Oh yeah, huge. You know what I mean? And that's why you look at a bunch of other countries too, like England, London. You know, in London it's crazy over there with just all sorts of different people and like a lot. It just seems like there's some kind of agenda to kind of like just like
That's what I'm
like
getting at.
yeah
The
ruin.
global elite, they want this, and they want people like you and me fighting each other instead of being together. Divide and conquer, right?
Yeah,
It's the
correct.
thing that's been used for centuries. The colonizers used it when they colonized the whole world. And right now, the world is, I would say, neo-colonialism, period. There is still colonialism, it's just in different forms.
Yeah, it
And
probably kind of seems like they want just a whole one world, right?
exactly,
Yeah, which
exactly.
is absolutely crazy at this point because then you got like you know what I mean like stuff happens like this when like one like nationality or ethnicity gets pointed out for stuff that's doing bad, but like you're kind of getting grouped in along with
Exactly.
everybody else that's causing the same problems. You know, like European people, like African people. You know, just all sorts of different stuff and
So when it comes to this case with Harjinder Singh, right? He checked all the boxes that were required.
some.
And so yeah, and like just how blatantly negligent the accident was, right?
Yeah,
And
agree.
like I want to start off by just saying like, yeah, condolences to the three individuals that passed away, and to their families, because it was a tragedy and they never should have happened in the first place,
Yeah.
right? And Yeah, he is to blame for it. He is responsible for his actions. I'm not going to deny that, right? From my point of view, I believe that he should get a fair trial, just like everybody else. And like,
Unfortunately, he won't though. He's gonna get the max thrown at him, I believe.
yeah, we'll
Whatever
see.
legally they could
Only
by the
only
book.
time will tell, I
Yeah.
think. Only time will tell. But like everybody in this country, right? Like this is a country that's based on the rule of law. So like he should be assumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. And what's happening is he's getting this trial by media that's been happening since it first started. And there's all this crazy misinformation that's being thrown around there, right? And social media doesn't help. And all it does is just polarize and divide people more because it just depends on what your algorithm is showing you, right? Once you start watching certain type of videos, your all these social media apps, they're just going to start showing you the same stuff,
Well, not only
right?
is it bad,
And
because
then
like
that just builds onto your
trucking,
bias.
like in trucking, like I get like trucking, like when your algorithm is like trucking, but now this is getting so far out where I'm seeing like different like TikTok and YouTube creators that don't even cover trucking are now covering this. You know what I mean? Which is now bleeding past the borders of just trucking. You know, which is
Exactly.
absolutely crazy. I just think, like you said, it was just a perfect storm, dude, of everything going bad and like
Let me
just
tell you. So the guy, there's a lot of, I would say, misinformation or like semantics that are used. Like he came to America in 2018, he crossed the border, right?
mhm.
So he didn't go through the whole like the proper immigration process, which actually takes decades, right? Like if you were to try to sponsor some family member that's in your home country, it'll take like 15, 20 years. That's how back their backlog. Right now, I think it's at 2006. So like people who filed their case in 2006, now finally after like what is it,
20
19
years.
years?
Mhm.
19 years, almost 20 years that their families are coming. And so there's a lot of, we all know there's a lot of people that have come into the country through the southern border, right? And it's not just during these last 4 years, it's been going on. Like I didn't know about this when I was growing up, but like people have been crossing the border for decades. And I used to think like as a kid, right, in like high school that it was only just like Mexican people that cross over from the border
Yeah,
because
obviously
it's
that wasn't the
country,
case.
right? It's their country. I just assumed I was a naive kid. I was like, oh, it's their country. They're the only ones that have access to the border, right? And then once I got out of high school, and then lo and behold, I find out it's my people too. And this is like 2013, 2014 when I found out that it's my people that are taking flights from back home and then to like South America, and then they're going on these little smuggler routes, right? They're paying huge amounts of money, risking their lives for what? For a better life, right?
Correct.
To achieve the American dream, which is something we all want, right? And you can't blame them for that, right? Yeah, I understand they're breaking the law, but you got to realize that their lives must be really bad back there, that they're willing to risk their lives, travel through jungles and stuff, right? In between the in between Central America and South America, there's the Darien Gap. It's like a very notoriously like dangerous jungle, and a lot of people actually die in there,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. I've kind of been seeing about it as I've been kind of learning about it too. But I guess
Yeah.
the only like messed up, well, like kind of messes me up about the whole situation is that also when they get here, like for example, like yeah, the Harding Singh guy that did a lot of stuff that is not good. But the only thing that aggravates me too is that kind of like these communities, like not only Indian, but I also see that like in Polish and so on and so on, that they'll bring these people here illegally or they come here illegally and they get to take advantage of. Like, you know what I mean? So you got a bunch of these, like, not, just say, because we're talking about truckers, so let's talk about drivers, but they'll bring these
Mhm.
guys in and they're going to pay them like way under market value and just take advantage of them too. Or in the same situation, if they're going to be doing that, they probably should be like taking care of their people better. Because I mean, I see that stuff in the Polish
I
community like
agree. That
forever,
happens.
bro. Like, they'll bring them here, they'll like leave them in hotels, like promise them these jobs and just, or they'll, like, if they don't want to work for nothing, they're just going to leave them and stranded. And it's kind of like crazy. And I guess how it got messed up in the trucking is that it really got affected is because not only are these drivers not just again from India but from everywhere like they're coming here are getting paid so much less per mile that the company could give the broker a 10 cents per mile cheaper rate than anybody else could, and they're still technically making 10 cents because they're paying the driver 20 cents less a mile. So which is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, man, I totally agree. Like, people exploit the vulnerable, right, in society, and it's unfortunate, but people from their own community who you would think would have their back when they come to, a foreign country, like a totally new country like America, where everything is just a big I guess, culture shock at first, right?
Yeah.
And that's what happens to them, right? It's just unfortunate, but as human beings, we're flawed creatures. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, now talking about the culture shock thing too, and I think this is what's happening. What I think it's like a reverse culture shock for like American people, because like just because these people got in here so fast, just like everybody got in here so fast, so quick, they're still so used to their culture at home that when they come here and start doing this stuff here, like when American people see it, they've been here, they're like kind of like, hey, what the hell's going on? You know what I mean? And to a lot of immigrants that come here, that do some like to us, like what to us looks like off the wall shit, to them it's kind of normal. You know what I mean? So, and then I think that's what's really driving a lot of stuff with the racism as well as too, because when you talk about like the stuff like, you know, I know Happy keeps on talking about that, you know, Indian people don't do it, whatever nationally does it, like washing their feet in the sink or just like leaving garbage or like using bathrooms certain places, and like all these cultures, to them that's not really like weird or different. So like they don't have the time to adapt to at least kind of like semi culture, like the American way. So that way, like when they start doing the stuff in public, they should know not to do it. And then American people kind of like look at it and they're like, oh my God, what the hell's going on, you know?
Of course, totally. I agree with you because, like, as someone that's born and raised in America, right? I see both I'm like right in the middle, right? I'm not totally Americanized, but at the same time, I'm not totally disconnected from my culture, from my roots, from my language, from my people. So like I see this problem and I like to be like the liaison, the bridge in between both. And on a personal level, I try my best to tell like, the folks that are new here that, hey, don't do this, right? This might be normal back home, but don't do this. It's not normal here,
Yeah.
right? You're just gonna get Americans to be hating on us more. You're ruining our reputation, right? I try my best to get the message across to them, right? But unfortunately, like sometimes it just falls on deaf ears. And like all the stuff you mentioned at truck stops that happened, I saw it with my own eyes, bro. Like
Yeah.
I totally agree with you as a trucker. Like I was driving local for the most part in California, but like I've seen how it like the industry has degraded from 2015 onward, year by year, right? And it's very simple and easy way to just blame immigrants. I think it's a whole like multifaceted issue of the trucking industry. It has many different causes to it. And what happened in Florida was basically a symptom of that, I would say, if
Yeah,
that
I
makes
just think
sense.
like it was a perfect storm of a lot of stuff, bro. Bad markets, political
Yeah.
regime change. You know what I mean? Obviously, with the implementation of the English proficiency, obviously a lot of states were not listening. You know, and
See,
they're
that
like,
law, as far as I know, it's been there forever, but it just never was enforced,
well,
right?
yeah, I think 1930s is originally where it came out. Came out in like it's been in the books like almost 100 years, but yeah, it was just never enforced. You know what I mean? And I think just so much stuff started happening in trucking where it started going bad. Trucking market started going bad, and then like you know you take a look at the accidents, and then like finally like somebody's gonna do something about it. Because like look, my parents were immigrants, right? They came here. My dad worked at a factory. Like you know what I mean? He pretty much worked there. That was his second job he got in the United States. He worked there until he retired and died. Oh, actually went on medical leave and then died. But like, you know what I mean? But if you're gonna be driving like 80,000 pounds on a highway, like there has to be some kind of like, you have to know some kind of base understanding of English. I think personally, at least, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
of course. Like
Yeah,
the road signs, they're all in English, right? Whenever you go somewhere like to a warehouse, you need to check into like in the shipping office. You need to be able to communicate. If you get pulled over by a cop, you should be able to communicate and articulate your views to the cop, right?
yeah,
It's just basic common sense. Like, and I totally agree with you. Like, English, it should be enforced. Like, I believe like America we have people that come from all over the world, right? Immigrants from all over the world. People that come from my country, your country of origin, your background of Poland, right?
yeah,
Um, Look at us. Like, if we hadn't learned the language, right, we wouldn't be able to communicate right now. Because I'm guessing your mother tongue is Polish,
yeah,
mine's is Punjabi,
yeah,
right? So like it's pretty obvious and like self-explanatory that like people from all over the world come to America. The least they should do is to like make an effort to learn English. And I'm not saying that they should be like completely fluent and speaking the way that we are speaking right now. As long as they know enough English to get by,
yeah,
right? As
exactly. Where
long as they
somebody who could
understand.
understand you at least.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? Yeah. Because like I said, because that's the only like bad thing. And I think what happened was with the whole trucking thing is I think because greed, you know, I mean, greed's like the number one, obviously, you know, thing that ruins people. And so, like, I think, like, once, you know, just all nationalities in general that did this with the visas and driver's licenses, they seen loopholes in the system, and then they could see that they could take advantage of it, pay the drivers less to make more money for their company. And I think just, you know, they did it so much to the fact where it just like became a problem for the trucking community, and
Yeah.
not only for the trucking community but for the safety on highways as well. And I
Yep.
think it's got
Definitely.
to the point with the bad market and so many people taking advantage of loopholes. I think
There's a
finally
lot
it's
of loopholes.
blowing up. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And see, look, we could agree there's a lot of problems in the industry. That's one thing we're both on the same side.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But like what I'm saying is like because of this incident, we are being used as a scapegoat, right? As like that guy, Harjinder Singh, like you said, you admitted he's not going to get a fair trial. He's going to get the maximum uh punishment. He's being used as that sacrificial lamb. Like he's going to be made an example of,
Yeah.
right?
But the only
And
thing
as
we do disagree on is I still say no matter what ethnicity he was, if he was here illegally, did all that stuff, the same thing would happen to him, that community, and that trucking company community as well. Which I mean, you just say you don't agree on, but I'm telling you, bro,
yeah,
it's so bad that it didn't matter what kind of illegal immigrant he was from what country, the same thing would have been done, man. The same exact thing would have been done.
yeah. See, the thing is, in America, there's so many accidents that happen every day, right? I don't
Yeah,
have the data. Like, I could have, done all my homework and brought that out. I'm not going to do that. Let's just have a candid conversation, right? We don't need to get super like theoretical into it. But every day, we all know accidents happen, right?
correct.
Unfortunately, like so many people, I think it's like 50,000 plus people die in a year in fatalities from traffic collisions. And those are from results from like, just straight negligence, mechanical error from the vehicle, mechanical problems from the vehicle, uh, people using their phones and being distracted, right? There's so many different reasons why accidents happen. And this one, obviously, it got highlighted because of social media. One, the video got leaked. And then from there, it just went on social media. The guy, Harjinder Singh, he checked off all the boxes for this to happen. He's illegal, quote unquote illegal, even though once he crossed over, he applied for asylum, right? Which is,
Then he got denied.
protected under UN's Charter of Rights. So he applied for political asylum that he feels that if he is sent back to his country that he'll face persecution. And then India has been known to do that to many of its religious and ethnic minorities, including us Sikhs, right? Where torture is a common thing in India. And so, of course, he was fearing for that. That's why he applied for asylum. He was still in the process of that process the asylum situation, right? His case is still pending. He he got his license through, I believe, some trucking school in Washington, right?
Yeah.
PW. And you saw who the owner is, right?
No, I didn't look into it that far. I've been sick the last few days, bro, so I haven't really did much
Yeah.
digging.
All the viewers just look into that PNW trucking school where he got his license from in Washington. You'll
Okay.
find out it's not what you think it is. Um, Everybody just like looks for loopholes in the system, and a lot of these trucking schools, they don't really care about, making good drivers that'll be out on the road and they'll be safe and efficient drivers. All they care about is making money, you know?
Yeah, and I also blame that on the government because when the government opened up those grants a few years back for the for the truck driving school, same thing around Chicago, dude, a whole bunch of driving schools just popped up, just
Yeah.
churn them and burn them. You get you get approved for that grant, and just get in here. And again,
I got like there's
they,
10 truck schools in my city.
yeah, and again they
Only
did
like I
that.
would say two of them are legit. Like they do things by the book. That's what I would think.
Yeah,
That's
under
what I think.
false pretenses, there's a driver shortage when there really never was. And
Yeah.
again, like again, our government is a huge fault for a lot of this stuff happening. Again, I don't want to point fingers or blame like the administrations and all that kind of stuff, but I mean, obviously, it's been going on for such a long time that the bubble's just finally, I think, now bursting.
See, like I hear that they're, definitely cracking down after this incident. And for its worth, like I think it's a good thing. Like the industry's so messed up that it just needs to be cleaned out. The only thing I say is just like we as a community, we shouldn't be targeted, right? Like, yeah, I totally accept our like responsibility, our share that we have contributed our fair share in messing up the trucking industry, right? But that's just not us. Like you could give me examples of like what you've seen my people doing on the truck, and I'll name every single example of other people, other drivers from different ethnicities doing the same exact thing, including native born white American truckers. I've seen it all
Yeah, I think
in my
most of the crazy stuff is done by like illegals though, bro. Like or like immigrants, because like even I'm not gonna even Polish people or Europeans, whatever, bro. I mean, a lot of that stuff. Even if you got like Polish people to come here, and they're just do weird shit because that's what they're used to, bro. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I agree. Yeah, because it's like they come here, they're not given any time to like understand what America is and what the culture is, right?
Yes,
They just
adapt a little bit,
they just jump on the truck, right? And I tell that to my people, like when they first come in here, like don't just jump on the truck. There's many other jobs you could do, right? Work at like a work at a 7-Eleven or something, right? I'm gonna go with the stereotypical stuff that we're known to do. Work there, do some other job like that, work at a restaurant. Like that'll help you, get your English skills up,
Yeah.
right? So I mean, yeah, talking about how you mentioned European drivers. Like about a year ago, I encountered a driver. He told me he was from Ukraine. He couldn't speak. He barely could speak any English. All he kept doing was saying "sir, sir, sir" to me, and he needed help backing in his truck. Right? He was using his phone as a translator,
Mm.
and he showed me on this phone that it's Ukrainian because I was asking him where he's from, and it was such a big like communication barrier with him. And eventually, yeah, like I helped him out. I got into his truck. It was like a newer model Freightliner Cascadia, automatic, right? And I backed it into the dock for him. So this guy, I was telling this on a different TikTok live I was speaking the other day. From far away, he would look like your typical white American, right? You wouldn't expect him not to know a word of English. That's how he looked, right? And
Or to you maybe, but I guarantee you I'd be able to spot them in 2 seconds.
that's the thing. I'm gonna get to that. That's
See, you're being
perfect.
racist,
I'm
bro.
glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up. See, look, when I look at you, I can't tell you're Polish, bro. I can't, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like Europe is such a diverse continent. People from Europe, they could distinguish each other, right? Well, guess what? The same thing for us, right? We're Sikhs, right? We're from our homeland of Punjab. We could look at other people from South Asia and be like, oh, guess what? Oh, that person's from that country, right? Like he's from Bangladesh, he's from Pakistan, right? He's from Afghanistan. And that is very similar for a lot of communities. Like, are you able to look at like a Chinese person and a Filipino person and like let's say a Japanese and a Cambodian person? Are you able to distinguish the difference between them?
If you're gonna say like
Beyond.
Vietnamese and Cambodian, maybe not. Chinese, Japanese, I would say so. Or like Chinese, Japanese, and Korean, I think I'd be able to distinguish them. But if you're gonna get into like Filipino, Cambodian stuff like that, I don't think I'd be able to tell the difference.
We can't either, right? Because we're not from that part of the world. But they could distinguish each other right away.
Yeah.
They'll be like, "Oh, that's not my people. That's, that's a different race. That's a
See
different
what you're
nationality."
talking about here. So that's when you said earlier, like if a white person, you just think they're white. But you see, that's what I'm saying. Like, so
Yeah.
that's why a lot of white people are probably doing the same shit. Like,
And
you
they
know what
say
I
the
mean?
same thing about
With
us.
darker, they're just throwing everybody into the same thing. And
Yeah.
that's why like
Like,
the whole white thing really like pisses me off because like I don't even consider myself white. I consider
yeah, I
myself
mean,
European.
yeah, but white Americans, they're gonna identify you as a white
That's the
man.
problem. They're not, dude, because I got discriminated my whole life growing up, dude. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
from like everything I used to do, Paul, I go back to your country, or like, hey, Polish people are dumb, or my dad was an immigrant, would come outside like with his underwear yelling at me, and then like then
No,
I'll
I
be,
believe you, bro.
like it's just
Because
it's
the thing is, your experiences are your own personal experiences, and mine's are the same, are my own. And we're nobody to judge one another, right? So I totally agree with you, bro. I totally get you. So that's what happened when it comes to like my people, the Sikhs, is that when 9/11 happened, what did people see when they turned on Fox News or CNN? They saw Osama's picture plastered on
Oh, I
TV,
remember that clearly, bro. The Indian people
right?
extremely got
Yeah.
discriminated against during 9/11. Like
Yep.
that's
Yep.
for sure. Because I mean, I went to high school with some like Indian people, and it happened. I was already dropped out, but I think it was like sophomore year in high school. I think I would have been sophomore and junior technically, is when it happened. And yeah,
Yeah.
that absolutely, for pretty
I was
much
6 years
anybody that's
old.
brown, dude, was
Yeah, everybody. It doesn't matter if you're wearing a turban or not, if you look right, but especially if you're wearing a turban, because look, this makes us a visible minority. This is an article of our faith. As Sikhs, we wear our turban because we're supposed to stand out in a crowd. We're not supposed to blend in. That's what like, you know, founders of our faith told us to do. Guru Gobind Singh, who's like the 10th guru of the Sikhs, he commanded us to have this distinct identity. So of course it's like it's a good thing and a bad thing just depending on the situation. And Yeah, after 9/11, the first person that was killed in a hate crime relating to that was a Sikh. His name was Gurbir Singh Sodhi, and he was killed on September 15th, just 4 days afterwards, in Mesa, Arizona. He had a gas station. He was outside um, watering some flowers, and he got shot in the back by some racist person. He died for nothing.
Yeah, it's messed
Something
up.
that, something his community didn't do. It had nothing to do with 9/11. We had nothing, Six had nothing to do with it. But based on, the conversation we're having, for people that don't have a clue who we are, they just look at us, they see that we're wearing something on our head and we have beard, and they just think, oh, they're the same people, right? And I mean, for what it's worth, if I was them, I would think the same thing, right? Like I totally get it. But that's why we're here to educate people, to like raise awareness about who Sikhs are. And everything that's happened these last 2 weeks, as tragic as it is for us, and how like we've been, targeted and on social media, right? And just a lot of hate coming towards us. I see it as a blessing in disguise as well, because now a lot more Americans have been able to like gain understanding about who Sikhs are, right? Because you see that word SIKH written everywhere about this case, right? And now that information is just a finger click away for everybody nowadays, people just like, at least they'll be able to Google us, research about who Sikhs are, and
Yeah.
I'm sure most people, once they start doing some research on who we are, they'll find out, we're just like every other people in America, we just coming here to, we're all about freedom.
So
That's
now
pretty much
back to
about
you
it.
guys.
Yeah.
You can't hear that in the background for real?
No, no, it's all good,
I
bro.
hope it doesn't go on a recording because they're really pounding away on this floor, dude.
You
Okay, so
got some
back.
good headset. I think it has like a good noise cancellation.
I hope so. Good. That'll be nice because I hope they don't have to.
I'm serious, bro. I don't hear anything. The only
Okay.
time I hear something is when you speak. That's it.
Okay. Good. All right. So let's get into this whole. Let's get into this whole Pakistan thing, right? So obviously, Sikhs are from India, right? Pakistan is north, right? North of you guys, from my understanding, or is it?
To West.
Oh, west, northwest, or just west?
Are you able to like share your screen and like pull up a map or something, or no?
I'll flip a map to check it out, but let me take a look. So, I don't want to get
Are
into
you
that
able to share
subject.
your screen or no?
No, I'm not going to share because I don't want to like. There's gonna be too much editing for me later. But it's whatever. That's fine. So
Okay,
they're
I'll explain. All
yeah.
right. So, do you want a little brief rundown on who Sikhs are, our history?
Well,
How,
I understand that part. I just want to understand the part of like because Pakistan considers ourselves more like with the Muslim community, from my understanding, right?
yeah, Pakistan is Islamic Republic of Pakistan, which was formed in 1947. So the British, they colonized all of South Asia, right? The whole region.
Okay.
So like it's known as the Indian subcontinent because it's the same size of Europe, right? So your family's originally from Europe, so I think you might be able to understand this better if put it this way. India and that whole region is very diverse, right? There's like
Mm,
hundreds of different languages, hundreds of different ethnicity groups, many different religions. And India, as we see it today, is pretty much like Europe, right? So like, in France, you got people that speak French, right? In Eastern European countries, you got like Romania, Bulgaria. They're all very different from one another, right?
yeah.
But they're in Europe. What is the commonality between these people for someone like me is that, oh, they all look like they're white people, right? So when it comes to India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, they all look pretty much similar, but these people are completely different from one another. So not to go too much into detail, but this whole area eventually it was colonized by the British, the colonialists, and our empire, the Sikh Empire, was the last one to be conquered, and this happened in 1849. So before this, they had conquered all of like the other parts of the Indian subcontinent, and eventually, after 98 years, in 1947, the British left. But what they did is they partitioned what they called British India into two different countries, and the partition line it ran right through the middle of our homeland, which is called Punjab,
Okay.
right? And they did is like the two countries were going to be made. The two countries were going to be India, which is the Republic of India, which is on paper it's a secular and a democracy, and the other country that was going to be made was Pakistan. There was two of them at that time. It was East Pakistan and West Pakistan, and they were named the Islamic Republic of Pakistan because it's a Muslim majority country. At that time, when the British were about to leave, the Pakistan leader, his name was Muhammad Ali Jinnah, and then on the Indian side, you had people like Gandhi, the Gandhi that everybody's heard of.
Yeah.
You had Jawaharlal Nehru, and then on our side, on the Sikhs, we had like our leaders. His name was Fateh Singh and Baldev Singh. So what happened in that, it's very long, complicated thing. I'm not going to get into it. This is something, you got to do a lot of research. It's a big rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But essentially the Muslims, they wanted their own country. They didn't want to live with the Sikhs, with us, and with Hindus due to a lot of, historical animosity between all these different groups, right? So the Muslims, they got their own country, Pakistan. Half our homeland went to them, which is still there. It's half of our homeland, Punjab, is still in the Pakistan side, and the other half is in India side. And so in 1947, there was a huge migration of our people. So the Muslims that were living in East Pakistan, which is on the India side, they were forced to migrate to the west side of Punjab, of the border. And the same thing for my people and Hindus. They were the ones that were living in what is now Pakistan. They had to immigrate. They had to migrate into India, and there was a lot of ethnic cleansing that happened. A lot of people died, and this is the stuff that is never taught in history classes, right? This was the largest human mass migration in history, and this happened in August of 1947. So what
even
happened?
bigger than the Turkey genocide thing too?
I wouldn't say it's probably somewhere around there.
Yeah.
When it comes to the Armenian genocide,
Yeah.
yeah, that happened in 1914 during World War One.
So it wasn't that far apart from each other.
It was about 30 years apart, yeah.
Yeah.
But
it's
yeah,
wild.
and so to keep a long story short, the Muslims, they got their own country. They got Pakistan. It was two back then. It was East and West Pakistan. Uh, West Pakistan is the one that you see today, if you look at a map, right? And then the East Pakistan, it was what is now known as the modern day country of Bangladesh. Bangladesh was established in 1971.
Okay.
That's a whole different topic, right? So the Hindus, they got India, and the Muslims, they got Pakistan. We Sikhs, we got left in the middle. At that time, our political leaders, they chose to go with the lesser of two evils, and they went with the Hindus. So we joined India.
Okay. Understood.
And
So those
yeah.
are the two biggest religions in India, is Singhs and then
So India,
yeah.
right? It's the most popular country now. It's like at 1.4 billion people. Close to 80% of the population is Hindu,
Mm-hmm.
and about 15% or so is Muslim, and then I think around 3% is Christian. Like I'm just giving you like rough,
Yeah.
like rounding it up, right? Not exact numbers, so don't quote me. But we Sikhs, we make up about like 1.7% of the population. So we're a
Okay.
very small minority.
I
And
mean,
we
it's still
live,
not that bad from a billion, 1.4 billion, you know?
yeah, so like when it comes to like, that huge population of that country, we're a minority. We're about like 30 million throughout the world, and about 25 million live in our homeland. Most of us Sikhs, we're concentrated in our homeland of Punjab, which is in and and that is the homeland I told you that got split in half.
Yeah.
Well, there's barely any Sikhs that live in Pakistan now. I think it's probably around 50,000 Sikhs that live there. The overwhelming majority live on the Indian side. And yeah, there's about 5 million of us Sikhs in the diaspora. In America, I think there's anywhere between like, there's not an exact figure, anywhere from between 500 to 750,000.
So
And
basically, Hindu takes up the biggest percentage of the population in
oh yeah,
India.
overwhelming majority, right? And like I said earlier, on paper, it's a secular country, but for us Sikhs and other, persecuted and marginalized minorities, India is a Hindu country, right? It just hides behind this guise of secularism and democracy, right? Because of our, the marginalization and persecution we have faced in that country, especially after 1984, when, a genocide was committed against us. That is when we started immigrating to the West in bigger numbers, seeking political refugee status from the
Understood.
persecution.
Okay, I get it. I understand it
Yeah,
now.
it's
I get
very,
it.
it's a very complicated and long history. It's not something that, can be explained right away, So it's
Yes.
something that, your viewers, if they want to look into it, we have many resources that we could show them. So
So, I mean, before we finish this stuff, we definitely have to get into that 1985 plane accident that touched my curiosity when we're on that live. So, if you want to just tell me a little bit about that.
pretty much what I told you in the messages, right? That in itself is another rabbit hole, right? It has to do with 1984. So if you don't know what happened to us at six in 1984,
Well, just
so
give us
in
a
order
brief, just like a 10-second, 20-second
in
explanation.
1985, Air
No, I'm saying
India.
of 84, so it kind of guides us into the 85 thing.
So let me just like from 1947 to 1950, right? That is when like 1947 the British left. In 1950, the Indian Constitution was finally drafted. This is one of the longest constitutions in the world. It has like a bit of American, Canadian, and the British Constitution all mixed in there,
Okay.
right? And in it, the Sikhs under Article 25, subsection B, were classified as a sect of Hinduism. So the Buddhists and the Jains and us Sikhs, we are independent religions, right? We are our own religions, but we are classified as a part of Hinduism, the main, the big religion, right? The
Okay.
majority. And because of that, we right away we didn't accept that constitution in 1950. And for 3 decades, we had a lot of nonviolent political 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 movement, right? It was protesting um, and agitations that were done against the federal government of India at that time. And eventually, you know, it escalated, and the Sikhs we were compelled to take up arms, right? And this happened around 1980, the year 1980. That's when like our side, we had to, engage in armed resistance against the Indian state. And this led up, it escalated year by year. And finally, we get to June 1984 when, in order to crush our like civil rights movement that was going on, where we wanted greater autonomy for our people, where we wanted, our language to not be suppressed, where we wanted our, river waters and other resources to not be looted by the federal government of India, right? Which is capital is in Delhi, in New Delhi. In order to quash that civil rights movement we had going on, the Indian Army, they invaded our holiest shrine, which is called the Golden Temple in English. It's called we call it Darbar Sahib. So this battle, it went on for 10 days, and they used tanks. They desecrated our holiest shrine by bringing in tanks, and a lot of thousands of like innocent pilgrims were killed. And this battle went on from June 1st to June 10th.
So it's like a revolutionary war kind of going on.
Pretty much, yeah. And then what happened afterwards is like about 5 months later, on October 31st, on Halloween Day, the Indian Prime Minister, her name was Indira Gandhi, no relation to Gandhi, she was assassinated because she's the one that ordered that attack, right? And so once she got assassinated, her political party, the Congress, the Indian National Congress, and other people throughout India's government, they used all their resources to their advantage, and they committed pogroms against the Sikhs. And this lasted for about 3, 4 days. We'll never know how many Sikhs died because they covered it up, right? They mass cremated bodies. They did that in June 1984 during the temple attack, and they did that in November 1st to November 4th as well. But yeah, that's what we call the genocide of 1984. And our motto is, never forget 1984, never forgive. And that is something, even someone like me who was born in 95, I didn't live through it, but I still feel the pain because that happened to my people. My parents, they lived through that. And so as the newer generation, we see it as our duty to like educate one another, the global community about the injustice that happened to our people, and to continue this struggle in order of freeing our people from India and gaining our own independent nation.
So that leads us into the Canada 1985 plane attack, right?
Yep, yep. So like as I mentioned in November 1984, thousands of Sikhs were murdered throughout India. They didn't the mobs that lynched Sikhs, they mainly did this in Delhi, which is the capital of India. in our homeland of Punjab, there wasn't that much that happened because we're in a majority there, right? They didn't want to come mess with us in our home turf. So throughout the major cities of India, where Sikhs are in a minuscule, really small minority, they targeted us. And how do they target us? Because one, we have a visible appearance, right? We're a visible minority due to our distinct religious articles of faith that we wear, our turban, right? And also the government use their resources of finding out where Sikhs live, where their businesses are. And so on the night of October 31st, they actually marked the houses and businesses of Sikhs. So that way the next day the mobs will know which houses and businesses belong to Sikhs and not Hindus. It's very similar to what happened to the Jewish people. Um, I believe it was 1938 in Germany. It was called the Night of Broken Glass, Kristallnacht, right? It's very similar. They did the same thing where they identified their targets the night before.
So how did that? Okay, so that all happened in
Yeah,
India.
that happened,
So
right?
the plane
You get
incident
to
that I'm
my,
talking about in Canada
yeah,
that you
yeah,
brought
my
up.
bad. I forgot where I was going with that. So when that happened, we had a like an armed resistance that going up against the Indian state. Because think of it, man, like our holiest shrine got attacked by the Indian army, right? Thousands of innocent pilgrims died, women and children, right? And then after that, the pogroms in Delhi happened, no, November. So we had a armed resistance that continued until 1995, right? And at this time, the Sikhs that were living in the diaspora, we uh we did our best to like support our brethren that were back home fighting against India, fighting for our independent nation, right? Because after the events that happened in 84, we came to a conclusion that India is not our country. It never was and it never will be. And the only way we could get out of this is to have our own independent country. So 1985, the Air India, which is the airline, I believe I forgot the name of it. I think it was Air India 182, and there was about, I think, 370 people that died on that plane. It was traveling from Canada, and it was going to stop in England, and it blew up in the sky midair, like about like 50, 100 miles off the coast of Ireland, something like that, right? And India blamed it on the Sikh separatists, the ones that were fighting against India. They blamed it because, Air India is owned by the government of India, the
Yeah.
airline. So we do not we condemn that act where, so many innocent people lost their lives. We see that as a false flag attack, as I mentioned earlier on your TikTok live.
Yeah.
That was done by the Indian intelligence agencies, which is known as RAW, the Research and Analysis Wing. It's basically India's equivalent of the CIA, right? And they did that in order to like defame Sikhs on the international level, and they were successful, right? Especially here in the West, the countries that had influence, right? They were able to pin the blame on us, and that helped them in their agenda. And here we are 40 years later, and they're still blaming us for it, even though nobody got convicted. The plane took off from Canada. The Canadian courts, they never convicted anybody of it. The person that they thought it was, that India says it is, that perpetrated the perpetrator, he was released from Canada. A court of law acquitted him, right?
Uh-huh.
He became he went back to India to join in with the resistance movement, and he was martyred in 1992,
Uh-huh.
right? So yeah, I mean, I have a book if you want me, I'll just show you real quick. So
Yeah,
like
go ahead and knock yourself out.
so there's this book right here. It's called Soft Target, and this book, it was written by Canadian journalists. It was written by Brian McAndrew and Zuhair Kashmiri. I don't know if you can see that,
Yeah,
right?
that's very good. Yeah.
So this book, it proves that the Indian intelligence agencies, they had been at work in Canada since the late 70s. And they were, doing surveillance of Sikhs and other dissident communities that were against the country of India, against the Indian government. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a,
And a lot of people don't believe. I mean, I believe in false flags, dude. I mean, there's
of
a lot of
course.
shit that happened in this world that, you know what I mean? Like, obviously now it's coming out to I mean, even to like 9/11, I still don't even believe that. You know,
See, like about 20 years ago, the people that we thought were conspiracy theorists and nut jobs, now all the stuff that they're saying is starting to become like what they were true, right?
yeah, 100%, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, like you see how everything is going on. Even still with the JFK files, they won't even release that shit because I'm sure there's still people alive there, would be implicated in
Exactly.
that stuff. But listen, man, thank you for coming on, dude. I know not everything was about trucking, but it was a nice conversation. I definitely learned a lot, and
I
there's
mean, that's
definitely
what I wanted to focus on that mainly,
yeah,
right? I know like that the topic went elsewhere is because like most Americans, they don't know about our struggle, the struggles of the Sikhs. And the reason why there's so many of us here now in America is because of the political persecution that we face back home, you know?
understood,
And
bro.
yeah,
Appreciate you, bro. Definitely learned a lot, and I'll definitely will keep in touch on TikToks. Maybe we'll do like a live on there or something one day, bro. And I appreciate your time, and man, I'll talk to you soon, bro.
yeah, thanks, brother. Have a good one.
You too, man. Later.